Hop in the range, take off into space.
The darkness is coming. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So as I said, the darkness is coming. It's not really an if, it's more of a when. And I really want to just talk about all of the things going on in Destiny and what we really think is to come here soon. I think it's really relevant, and we've gotten some leaks that obviously aren't confirmed and we'll never be able to know if they're true until these new seasons and new DLCs come out. But it's pretty fun to talk about a lot of it, and as I am going to mention a lot, this is a theory. This is all just speculation, predictions, just, the fun part. We don't know when things are coming, and it's kind of fun to talk about what we think might come. And so that's going to be the whole topic of this video. So if you guys aren't wanting to throw on your spinfoil hat, you might be in the wrong place. And if you take these theories too seriously, I don't know. Don't take a grown man seriously who's got on a spinfoil hat. So take it with a grain of salt. So let's get right into it.
Season 8 is the catalyst.
Season 9 is really where things start to build, and then Season 10 is where things start to get pretty intense, and then Season 11, everything is going to come together, and you're going to want to be there to see it happen. It's going to be like no other time in Destiny. And then Season 11, everything is going to come together, and you're going to want to be there to see it happen. It's going to be like no other time in Destiny.
So I don't know about y'all, but that's got my tinfoil hat tingling. What in Season 11 is going to be, quote unquote, like no other time in Destiny? And so to kick off that conversation, we're going to talk about what's been showing up these last couple resets, which has been the Doritos, aka the pyramids, that we've been seeing in Destiny 2 tease since the beginning of vanilla, after the Gaul cutscene that we rolled at the beginning of the video. Also, it's been teased in the Invitation to the 9 bounties. It's been teased by the Marisol interactions that we have on the Curse Weeks in the Dreaming City. And now, after a cutscene with Zavala, we now see on the wall pyramids. In last reset, we only had a few, and in this past reset, we had even more Dorito ships that are representative of the pyramids. And so what I'm wondering is if we're going to have some crazy thing happen with the darkness potentially next season. Maybe. Not anything where I feel like we're fighting them, but maybe some big alley-oop lob for the potential theorizing that's been going on that the darkness is coming in September. Now that's been on multiple leaks, none super credible. I know that's why you gotta take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of those leaks were from 4chan, but a lot of the information was interesting at least, and I do at least agree that it would make sense. There's one thing they said where they said a lot of the stuff they're working on in Destiny 3, they were going to put into Destiny 2 into this September. And I do think it's realistic that if Bungie was still with Activision probably would have wanted Destiny 3 right now. And so they probably were forced to work on it. And if Bungie's struggling to make stuff right now, as you've seen, such a lot of the stuff in the game is really skimp, they probably don't want to have September flop. So what I'm hoping is that they're not going to throw in the darkness too early when it's not ready and then have it fall on its face. So if they are going to bring it, I hope they bring it correctly. But we can get into that in a second. So let's talk about the Doritos a little bit more before we go into any further detail. So we have these Doritos ships that popped in first on a cutscene from Zavala, like I said, and then they showed up on the wall, and then there were even more on the wall this past reset. And so if we backtrack, we can see all of the planets in our solar system lit up all the way to Saturn. If you can't read these, they're in Russian, so just get your Russian dictionary out and you can look up all of these terms. But one interesting thing, like I said, so we have all the planets up to Saturn highlighted. Now those are all that's as far as we've gotten, at least in Destiny, like in the actual game, like we've gotten that far. So I'm curious on why don't we see Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, but we do see the darkness ships. So it makes me wonder if the darkness are blowing things up, which would lead into a lot of the theories that everybody has that Destiny 2 can't keep growing forever. Now, I mean, think about it. If I was to, let's say, I just pick up Destiny, I've never heard about it before, and I pick it up in September, and I'm like, hey, this looks cool. And then I throw it into my PlayStation, and then it says 19 million gigabytes to download, 6 years estimated time. You're probably not going to wait that long. And so that's not to say that it could even be that big, obviously. But the point is that this game can't keep growing forever. So a lot of the things that people have been theorizing is that planets are going to go kaboom. So my question is where are these planets? There's outlines for them, but they're not highlighted. Did the darkness do anything to these planets already? And is this foreshadowing to what might come to some of the other planets that we know and love? And that is the first topic that I want you guys to get in the comments and let me know. What in the world do you think is going to happen to our planets? If you think that the darkness could come, that's the first thing. Obviously, there's no guarantee the darkness is coming. There's so many other stories that Bungie could tell. They could talk about the Nine. They could talk about Aldrin coming back. They could talk about Siva. They could talk about Savathun. There's a ton of stuff they could cover. But we're just going to focus on if the darkness was to come, and if we are going to get Season of the Doritos, then what do we think is going to happen? So the first thing that we need to discuss is, do we think that planets are going to explode to accommodate Destiny's size? And if so, do you think that the darkness has already blown up these planets? And do you think more planets are going to get blown up? And if so, what planets do you think are going to go? Now, personally, I've heard a lot of people say that they think that Titan's going to go kaboom. I've heard people say that they want Mercury gone. Now, if Mercury was to go, I don't know where the lighthouse is going to go. Maybe we'll just move the lighthouse and we'll hold up a flashlight and we'll call it the lighthouse. I don't know. But a lot of people think planets are going. So I'm curious on what planets you guys think are going to go. And then if you do think the planets are going to go, I want you guys to also analyze how you think that's going to be received by the community for two reasons now. The first reason is for raids. So let's start off with, let's say Nessus goes kaboom. What happens to Callus and what happens to all the Leviathan raids? Do they disappear or do they stay? Does Callus just take his ship and fly it somewhere else? Or does it go kaboom? And that can be applied to anything. I mean, even just take Earth, and then say if Earth did go kaboom. I don't think Earth is going kaboom, but let's say Earth did go kaboom. Is Scourge of the Past gone? You know, like, so just take that example and apply it to any planet that you take. What happens to the activities, the strikes in the raids? What happened to those? So if we do go with Nessus, do all of those raids go kaboom? First thing. Second thing, the exotic quest. Now, if I have, let's just take a very simple one, for example. We can do one like Thorn, where the last mission is in Savathun. Now, is the Thorn just going to become a random drop loot pool? Or is it not going to be, is it going to be available? And then same thing could apply for something like Whisper the Worm. If you think IO is going kaboom, do you think Whisper is just going to be permanently retired? Or do you think there's going to be new ways to get it? And I think Bungie needs to ask those questions, because let's say if people weren't able to get something like the Thorn, people would be outraged. So all questions that I hope that Bungie asks themselves so they can handle them accordingly before there's backlash in September, if that was to be the case. That's the only reason why I like to ask those questions now. Next, we've already talked about now if the planets are going to go kaboom. Next thing would be, do we really think that we're going to be fighting the darkness? Now, just because the darkness might come and blow up some areas doesn't mean that we might actually be fighting the darkness, but there has been concept art of the Veil since the beginning of Destiny 1, where they literally looked like, I'll pull up a picture, but basically I can reenact it, but the Veil looked like, this is the Veil. Are we going to be fighting these type of enemies that just look like ghosts? Now, that leak on 4chan talked about the Veil being almost like ghost-like creatures as well, and that wasn't just some guess they made, but that was according to concept art. And so that concept art could be true, it could be false. I mean, it only holds so much weight, because There's concept art of frog people in Destiny, and I want frogs. I don't know where the frogs are, but bring frogs into Destiny. Bring me the frog people, please. Please, please, please bring the frog people. Please. Bungie, if you can hear me. Frog people, please. So, but back to back to what we were discussing though, the Veil. Do you think that we're going to be fighting the Veil in September? Do you think that that's something that you guys would like to see? Now, it's kind of interesting because we haven't really got a new unique enemy since it's been since the 4 basic ones, you know, because I don't count Taken, I don't count Scorn, and I don't count Siva. So outside of the Cabal, the Fallen, the Hive, and the Vex, that's really been it so far. So if we are going to get number 5, the Veil, are they coming in September? And so that brings me to the question, now that we've kind of talked a little bit about the enemies, we talked a little bit about going kaboom, I do kind of want to talk about do we think that Season 11 is going, like what is going to be like no other time in Destiny? Like, and what is going to lead us into, I guess, those pyramid ships in September? I'm just wondering, my only question on this is just a small question. Do you think they're going to give us the Uldren treatment on the pyramids? We saw a little bit of it just now, but do you think they're just going to not mention it now for a couple months again, and we might just get a small teaser? Or do you think that Season 11 is going to actually have some, like, you know, the kind of, let's say, the start of the real story to the darkness that's going to lead us into September? Or is it just going to be more small teases until then? Like, what do you think we're actually going to get any darkness involvement in the next season? I guess is what I'm asking. Or do you think it's coming in September, if it's coming? Obviously all ifs. And I'm just kind of curious on what you guys think about that. Me personally, I think it would be cool that they start getting closer and closer. Maybe they're like, what if we could even see pyramids in the sky while we're doing whatever else is going on related to the next season? You know, if we could actually see them, like obviously we're going to lose access to the bunkers, but can you imagine if these pyramids that were right here end up like here or here, like where they're even closer? Or like, I mean, it'd just be so crazy if I was on Mars or something and they were just in the sky. It would just be crazy. As if like, I'm wondering if there's going to be any more teasers / story involvement in the next season. So that's going to be kind of interesting as well. Lastly, I know a lot of people have been talking about subclasses and bringing in a new darkness subclass, let's call it. Like, do you guys think that that's something that you would like to see in September? If it was, are you guys ready for a new subclass? I think there is some cool stuff they could tease if they did want to bring the darkness. If it was me, what I want them to do is I'd want to get so brutally beaten by the darkness. Like, I want the Veil to tear us up the way that Gaul did, only worse. Don't just kick us off the cliff. Like, I mean, just blow up our worlds. Like, we're like hopefully that's coming. And I want to be beaten so badly and not have any light that we have to use the darkness in order to, like, you know, fight the darkness. Use the darkness to fight the darkness. I don't know. You know, the whole Incredibles thing with the machine could only penetrate itself. So use the darkness to fight the darkness. I don't know. It'd be a cool concept if they did. What do you guys think? Do you guys want new subclasses? Just something that I wanted you guys to also let me know if that's something you would like to see in September potentially. Who knows? It's all, you know, it's just all speculation. So it's all pretty cool stuff. Regardless, it's just going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in September, because there's a lot of backlash going on, obviously, right now. PvE isn't in the best place. I'm still enjoying it, but I understand, I can tell that, you know, there's some things that obviously could be a little bit better, but I also don't want to put any judgment on Bungie yet. I do think we're still living in the pyramid. Holy, I'm only saying pyramid. I meant to say period. The pyramids are upon me. I need to put on a second tinfoil hat to protect myself from the darkness. Apparently they're already in my brain. But this period, I think, is still the kind of the remnants of the split between Activision. And I think that we're not really going to see what Bungie's been cooking until September. And I don't want to cast judgment until then. Plus, with all of the with the pandemic as well, it's just really hard for them to address a lot of the feedback they're getting. I can only imagine. So I know that these next few seasons are, I mean, they won't be perfect, but I do think that we have something cool coming in September if we can just hold out and just keep the hype train going and keep the speculation going and seeing where this might lead. We might get some really, really cool stuff, and I'm really just curious on the wordage that they use, that there's going to be it's going to be like no other time in Destiny. And I'm really hoping, in my opinion, for like a actual world event where we all see something in real time, like at the like not even just like a cutscene, but I'm talking about I fly into to Titan and there's pyramids flying up, and it just I don't know. I hope they do something. Who knows? I'm probably reaching for the stars on that, but just in general, I'm curious on what that meant, and I'm curious on if the pyramids and if the darkness is actually coming in September. Like I said, the question isn't if, it's when. And do you think the when is this September, or do you think that we're all off the mark, and do you think the darkness is coming much later? Now, I know a lot of people have been speculating too that Destiny 3 might not even come out till 2023, 2024, 20 whatever. And if that's the case, I don't mind the darkness coming later. I really don't. There's no rush for me. So if it comes, the only thing is I want it to come correctly. So if they are bringing it, hopefully they bring it correctly. If not, I'm perfectly fine waiting. Veteran Guardian brought up a good point too. He said that if they do bring the darkness, hopefully it's like Infinity War that sets up an even bigger end game. Because I don't know if I'm ready to just, have the darkness in September and we just beat them. I think that would be kind of I don't know. It would just be it wouldn't sit well for me. I think it'd be pretty cool if it leads us to an even bigger slam dunk later. Either way, this is where you guys get in and just fill the comments with theories that you guys have. I look forward to reading every single one. There's nothing I enjoy more than tinfoiling about what's to come. So thank you guys so much for listening to my ramble, more or less. Hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you guys do want to see more videos of this style, let me know, and I would love to get in and talk more about this type of stuff. So thank you guys so much. I love you, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And with that, I'm gonna talk to you guys in the next Destiny video. Thanks. I love you guys.
My visa's equipped, they shots to the lip. Take out the coin, then I flip. Pull out the thorn, then it's ripped. Dragon tattooed on my hip, invading like my name is Zim. Dunking these moves like a rim. Yes, I am harder than Shin, making you pay for your sins. The drift of the 9, yeah, I'm rolling with them.
No, I'm not fine, I feel incredible. No, I'm not regular. Stand on a pedestal, Joker's wild when he's off of his medicine. For my squad, I go hard like an animal. Body guns, got your head on the red up with no trust. You need to go level a man down, but no, I'm not giving up. I think that I said enough.